Next up, shortly after becoming president, Joe Biden signed an executive order announcing his commitment to protecting 30% of U.S. land and water by the year 2030. In May, the administration released a preliminary report about what's become known as the 30 by 30 plan. It's led to a lot of questions from farmers and agricultural groups about how the land they own may be impacted by this initiative. Nebraska Extension Ag and Water Law Specialist Dave Aiken joined me on the show to offer a little more clarity on the implementation of the 30 by 30 plan.
Well, the funny thing is, Troy, that I think that we're already there or pretty darn close. One of the reports that was cited in the May report that came out talking about the 30-30 plan said that you are well over 750 million acres, and 770 million acres looks like the maximum that you would need to get to 30-30. And so instead of only being at 12%, this looks like we're at 29.5%.
So that being said, why is this plan so controversial?
Well, farmers and ranchers and forest owners understand that they own the land that would be potentially in this 30-30 program. And so they're saying, wait a minute, this affects us directly, and we don't have near enough detail to have any confidence about how you're going to do it. Now, the plan talked a lot about, the conservation programs and like the CRP program and the ag program and stuff like that. And that is most likely how they would proceed. But the clarity isn't there, and certainly the correct information in terms of what do we need to do to get to 30-30 isn't there as well. And so there's some issues here, I think.
Because, you may have even some of our audience sitting at home right now thinking, okay, I'm going to be forced to give up my land. But that's not exactly how it's going to work, though, right?
No. At the worst that could happen would be that your land would be condemned, like when they're building highways or something like that. I mean, they have to do condemnation for that. Like the pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline, they were going to have to condemn right away for that. But I can't imagine, for this kind of stuff, they rarely condemn private property. I mean, it's too much hassle and there's too much pushback. And so they go in and try to offer people as much money as they can to get them to sell it voluntarily and that kind of thing. And so that's, and I think it'll probably end up being more like the Conservation Reserve, where you sign a contract for so many years and then it comes back to you. And it's up to you whether you want to renew it or not.
What has been the response from farm and ag organizations from around the country?
They have been very, very unhappy with the 30 by 30 proposal. The response to the plan that came out in May was a lot less muted than what happened in January when the president made his speech. But there are still a lot of details to be fleshed out that haven't been. And if this goes anywhere, that's probably one of the first things they'd have to do.
Yeah, so what happens next?
Well, we've got to wait and see what happens to the president's budget. That's kind of in a log jam now in Congress. I think it's safe to say he's not going to get all the money that he's asked for. So when he does get his budget, he's going to have to make choices. And if this is a climate program, if I were president, I'd put the money on a super grid or on encouraging more wind and solar development or carbon sequestration, the stuff that will actually move the needle towards getting us closer to net zero emissions by 2050. 30-30, if it moves the needle, it's not very much. It's more hanging on to what we have, which is important, but getting the emissions down is not going to happen with 30-30.